So, I got a comment on one of my shorts that make me want to ask you this question. So, what do you think the hope of this anime generation is? That's a good question. So, before we get into that, let's start this off the right way. Heroes, Demon Lords, welcome back to my realm. I'm Lord Zill, and let's talk anime. So, like I said, I got the comment on my short, this comment up here, and they said that DanDaDan is the hope of this generation in anime. I did not like DanDaDan. I watched the entire season, didn't like it. I thought it was overly done, childish, humor. I didn't like it. I thought the concept was great. I would have loved a good, ghost alien concept. They could have done this a better way. They didn't need the childish, genital humor that they kept using over and over again. It could have just been done better. But that's just my opinion, right? I'm just one person. That's my opinion. But this person thinks it's the hope of your generation. And, that leads me into what I was originally going to do this video on, which is an anime who just released season 2, this month, and that's Solo Leveling. So you're telling me this is your hope of a generation when you have this masterpiece? It's got god tier animation, god tier fight scenes. The storyline is on a whole nother level. The characters are they draw you in. It's intriguing. And you're telling me that DanDaDan is your hope? Look, if DanDaDan is the hope of of this generation of anime, then I'm gonna make like Zazu, and you can count me out. You know what? You tell him, Zazu.
If this is where the monarchy is headed, count me out of service.
Because that's ridiculous. You can't tell me that this animation, well, don't get me wrong, some of the artwork was great. I don't see the need for a lot of the stuff that they did in there. I really think the storyline could have been done so much better. But it's not your hope of this generation. If that's the hope, then this generation is doomed. If you don't think Solo Leveling is your hope, if anything that's come out in the last year or 2 years is the hope of this generation's anime, it's Solo Leveling. And you're over here telling me it's DanDaDan? No! Just no! But back to what I was originally going to talk about. So I watched the first two. Sorry. Let me get off my rant. Let me get back in here. Okay, I'm back. So, by the way, if you made it through my rant, why don't you go ahead and like and subscribe and hit that bell so you don't miss anything else. But back to the topic that I had at first. The first two episodes of season 2 are dropped. Watched them on Crunchyroll. I watched them subbed. I will go and rewatch them dubbed with my kids because, they don't really watch them subbed. They'd rather just watch them dubbed, which is fine. Teach their own. If you like them subbed, if you like them dubbed, I don't care. Just get into anime. That's all that really matters, is that you enjoy your anime and you like watching it or consuming it the way you do. I mean, there are some things I don't need to know how you consume anime, but teach their own. But I went ahead and watched the first 2 episodes. My God, amazing. I am on the edge of my seat with every episode. It was intense. They're introducing us to new characters. They're introducing us to new ways the world works. They're hinting at a little bit more concept of why the gates are opening. The fight scenes are just on a whole new level. We get to see him use the knight that he got in the last season. And we get to see his ability, being able to summon, really pick up and take off. These 2 episodes were phenomenal. I do like watching it subbed. I do like watching it dubbed. I will say that I do prefer watching this one dubbed, just because there's so much going on. There's so much, talking and interaction to follow along with. For me, I'm not the fastest reader. There might be some that can speed read and watch, but when I'm watching, it's hard for me to really pay attention to what's going on in there and, read the words, because I don't speak Japanese or any other language but English. I'm sorry. So I'm having to, pause it, read a little bit, go back into it. So I do like to go back and watch it, dubbed, so I can, catch up a little bit more, get a little bit more information on it. So as soon as that's dubbed, I will watch it again. But it was phenomenal. I am hooked. I was hooked on the first episode of the first season. But now I'm invested. So, back to the question, what do you think the hope of this new anime generation is? When I was growing up, we had Dragon Ball, Sailor Moon, Inuyasha, Yu Yu Hakusho, Gundam, the older animes. Then you got the big three, and then you've had some good animes that still come out. I'm still into it, still loving the animes, but to say anything is the hope of this generation when you're talking about the new stuff, and to not say at least say it's DanDaDan is, in my opinion, wrong. But everybody has their opinion, and I'm just going to say, if your opinion is that DanDaDan is the hope, I'm just going to tell you your opinion is wrong. But Solo Leveling, I think, is really changing it up, and that's the hope of this generation's anime. And if anime keeps going like this one, and they come out with more anime that hit this level of animation and storytelling and just really dig into the character development and the fight scenes, then I'm going to stay on this ride. So, let me know if you watched those first two episodes, or heck, by the time you watch this, more episodes probably came out. So let me know if you've got into Solo Leveling and what you think. And let me know if I'm wrong. Do you like DanDaDan? Do you think it's the hope of this generation? If you do, that's on you, not on me. If that's how this generation turns out, and we get a bunch of terrible anime that look just like the whole remixes of all the Cartoon Network shows that came out when I was younger, and I can't stand looking at them now, that's your problem. You caused it. But if you think, anime should be on the tier like Solo Leveling, then stick with me. I'm going to keep diving into more anime, and we'll keep discussing them. Let me know what you thought of this, what you thought of Solo Leveling, and what you thought of DanDaDan, and let's keep at it. So, as always, enjoy the journey, stay epic, and I'll see you next time. Oh yeah, and click on one of my other videos.